after 4 years of college, you probably lose that preparation mindset that I must have had when I was, let's say, in school, right? So to bring that back, I realized ki, the effort was the sincerity was not there. You have to sit for 4 or 5 hours. You have to push harder. That will only give you results. So I gave the exam in Noida in Pearson Centers, I think Sector 16 mein hai wo. And so the first time around when I gave the exam, so the exam suddenly stopped in the middle. Okay? There was a blackout, so screen was flickering. And verbal has been a challenge for me since day one. So right, I have never gotten above 84 in verbal in any of my mocks.
Big, massive congratulations on that incredible score.
Thank you.
725.
Thank you.
I think I missed on that. Yeah, right here. 99 percentile on your score, 725. 100 percentile on quant, 84 percentile on verbal, data insights, 98 percentile. We were just having a very few conversation on a text, and you said this is the second attempt, and there's a massive leap in all the sections, right? But I have to tell you, what an incredible achievement. 725, 99 percentile. With the profile that you have, there is the limit to apply to any school is not bound anymore, right? So you can apply to any school, any time of the year, whenever you are ready to take that leap and get into the top schools. So big congratulations for this score. So today we'll just be talking about everything right from the very beginning, from your preparation phase to your exam phase, and what happened in between. Why did the score kind of tank down in between, and how did you really take that leap? And it's not been like a very small gap. There has been like a big amount of time that went in with the preparation. So we'll talk about, did it be like, was it like just the preparation, or was there a lot of gaps also in terms of your preparation? So can you now talk about yourself, about how did it all start? Like how did you find yourself taking up this journey of GMAT via MBA, right? For MBA.
Yeah, so basically it all started about a year ago, I would say. So last October, right? So I had completed my internship at BCG, and I had gotten a full-time offer from them, right? So I was in my third year of college.
Okay.
I almost completed third year, just I was starting my final year of college,
Right.
right? Recently, we have this culture, growing in IIT Delhi, that people are, applying for deferred MBA programs and getting in, like, people have done quite well and gotten into great schools, have gotten great admits, and some of my close seniors had also done that. So it was kind of an aspirational thing for me at that time. I was not really sure whether I was ready to put in the effort to get a deferred admit or not. I was not even sure that whether I wanted to do an MBA or not. So I would say probably I'm still not sure if I actually want to do it or not at some point. Yes. So getting this score has actually pushed me that, yeah, now I'm looking forward to possibly doing it from a good school. But at that time I was not very clear. So I just it just cracked into my mind that I was also like top 1% also had this session. I think in our I had attended a demo session with them, and also I just started my GMAT prep. I took the course and enrolled in the course, and I started studying a little bit. And I was not very dedicated. Like I was having significant troubles in quant. So the first mock that I gave on MBA.com for Focus Edition, and at that time also I think I was torn between whether I should give the original edition or the Focus Edition. So there was like a lot of confusion at that time. But then finally I decided, okay, I'll give the Focus Edition only. And then I think after that, uh, so after that, the first mock that I took on MBA.com was I got a 585.
Oof. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I used to study a little bit, 1 or 2 hours a day, not more than that, slowly doing the pre-work, watching the videos, and just did it slowly. I was not very dedicated towards my prep. So in the first time, because also a lot of things were happening in college. Final year, people like friends are leaving. We have our farewell and convocation and everything. So I was not finding a lot of time on my hands to do that. Also, we had like I also went to like with my friends to Goa in December. So we had the grad trip and all. So I was having fun in life. I was like, there's no hurry. So probably I said, okay, I'm not applying for deferred MBA because I haven't done this. So right. So then my course was about to expire in May. Right. So by the end of April, everything had like college had ended and everybody had gone home. So my joining date of BCG, I've still not joined. I'm joining actually tomorrow. So I'm
Wow.
joining tomorrow, and I gave GMAT on Friday. right? So it was like so I had initially given my GMAT in the end of May, so because my top 1% course was also expiring,
Right.
and in this meantime I was also planning to do an internship.
Right.
So I was supposed to join that internship, I think, on 27th of May, and
Right.
I gave my GMAT on, I think, 25th or 26th of May, first attempt. So
Right.
first attempt I got a 655. So at that time I was scoring similar in mocks only. I was getting 665, 655. So I was expecting कि ठीक है, मतलब maybe if I'm lucky I can get a 675, 685. Otherwise a 655 is also fine. मतलब it's a 700 plus score. It's not bad. Okay. मतलब so I was not happy with it, but I was like ठीक है, मतलब at least I have given it once, right? So then I completed my internship. I did 2 months of internship. उसके बाद I also again started, like, preparing a little bit. So then in September I started preparing again अच्छे से. So I used to give like full 4 5 hours every day. Right. So I started from the top. I started verbal again. I started quant again. I started DI again. So after 2 weeks of prep, what I did was I reattempted one of my MBA.com mocks. So I bought the 6 mocks wala package, right? And so by this time my top 1% course had also expired. So I did not have access to the portal also,
Okay.
right? So but I was using the materials, the GMAT, all the text materials that you have. So I've done all the RC 700 to 800, all the 117 questions. I've done the entire CR 700 to 800 wali PDF. So I was doing it PDF only. मैं PDF से ही कर रहा था मैं. So I did that, and then I gave a mock. I reattempted one of the mocks. I got a 715. ठीक है. So I was very happy. It gave me some confidence कि okay, probably I'm on the right track, right? But I was also confused because maybe I've reattempted. So therefore the score uh, is not a good reflection of what my true capability is. So I studied a little more, and then I gave another mock. And in the mock, I was getting again 655, 665 whenever I attempted a new mock. So I was not really sure why this was happening. And what was happening was in quant, I would do such silly mistakes. For example, there is an equation, right? You find out the value of x. The question is asking root 2x, but you
Right.
just take x and move on.
Oh,
So mistakes like these were happening with me in quant, right? And for DI, I was struggling a little bit with my pacing in DI, and verbal has been a challenge for me since day one. So right, I have never gotten above 84 in verbal in any of my mocks.
right.
So I was sure कि verbal में I can't do beyond this. I have done everything in my capacity,
Right.
but इसके ऊपर नहीं जा रहा है score. So this is what the best that I can do, right? So so last week, so I gave my GMAT on what, 27th of September, right? So I must have given the mock around 18th or 19th of September, where I got a 655 or 645, and I was also tracking. I had maintained an Excel. I used to write कि ठीक है. So mock one में I did let's say 18 were right in quant, 2 were incorrect, verbal में इतने were incorrect, DI में इतने were incorrect. So I was like, maintaining a chart of how many mistakes I was making, etc., etc. Also, I had an Excel sheet of my practice sessions. So whenever I did the time practice, I used to maintain कि ठीक है, in इतने minutes I did these many questions. This was the accuracy, and this was the time per question, average only. So
Right.
I was not very strong on maintaining full error logs and all of that. मतलब, frankly, I don't think I was not able to do it. मतलब, it was very hard for me to maintain all that, so I did not do that. I just maintained an overall picture कि ठीक है कि ऐसा चल रहा है. So then finally I was not even expecting this kind of a score in my exam, right? So I was happy with a 705. 715 was my target. कि ठीक है, 715 आ गया and I am done with this, right? So when I started giving the exam, so मतलब, I don't know what happened. I was just in the zone. ठीक है कि I know कि my answer was right. मतलब I double checked कि what is the question asking, what am I, and I was so fast. मतलब in quant especially, मतलब I don't know how it happened, but everything was just clicking. So I finished quant with, I think, 2 3 minutes extra, and I reviewed practically all of my questions again. And मतलब, I was sure कि हाँ सब सही है, and actually I hadn't made any mistakes in quant. So then verbal. So what happened then? I had decided that I will take my test break after the after 2 sections. So my section order was, for the first time attempted, and the most of my mocks also I have attempted quant, DI, verbal.
Right.
ठीक है. My logic was कि ठीक है, आपने पहले quant कर लिया and then you do DI, so maths similar है, and then end में you take a break and then you do verbal.
Right.
So that was my strategy. ठीक है. And all of the mocks has been the same. The first attempt that I did of GMAT was also the same. And so but this time around I was like कि नहीं, मतलब I'm not doing it this way. I am doing quant, verbal, DI. मतलब
Okay.
I don't know, मतलब why I decided on this was because I had seen कि ठीक है, I felt कि I was probably doing verbal better than DI.
Okay.
But मतलब I was feeling that in my practice. Actually मैं वो नहीं हुआ. I don't know why. but I was feeling that during my practice, so I decided कि नहीं ठीक है, first I'll do quant, then I'll do verbal, then I'll take a break, and then I'll do DI. ठीक है?
Right.
So while I was writing my test, so after the first section ended ना, I did not, मेरे को लगा कि if I don't click yes I would want to take a break, so I will automatically continue to the next section. मतलब I knew कि it would put me on a break automatically. मतलब I knew that. So when the automatically the break began, I remember कि oh ये तो automatically break, it would put me on a break automatically. But then I took the break after quant only. So then I did verbal and DI. मतलब ठीक है, मतलब I don't think that matters. So I gave the exam in Noida in Pearson Centers. I think sector 16 में है वो. And so the first time around when I gave the exam, so the exam suddenly stopped in the middle. ठीक है? There was a blackout, so screen was flickering. So frankly, at that time I did not lose any time.
Right.
But it really hampered my focus at that time, I would really say. So this time I was, I talked to them specifically about it. Because this is the thing that happened with me last time, and I really don't want it to happen this time. So whatever system that you allot me, please be sure that it's working and there is no troubles with all of that.
Right.
So thankfully that did not happen, and I was able to maintain my focus throughout the exam.
Yes, yes.
So that was my journey.
So tell me about one of the specific things that happened when you were getting in your mock 655. You had set your mind to get around that kind of a score, or आपका आ भी गया, like you also got that score in the first attempt, right?
Yeah.
What was that mindset shift which told you that this is not it, right? This is not like this is just not enough. And what really pushed you to look at the second attempt, although you took a little time because you wanted to finish your shape, and then you got back. There's a gap also in your preparation. But what moment and what is that thing? This is like very personal to you, right? And obviously you weren't very driven by the fact that you want to go do an MBA.
Yeah.
But MBA was long gone because the timeline is well within your when you're doing your when you're still in college, right? So the deferred MBA timeline are also gone. So you're not really applying for that. So there's no goal in mind. You want to apply round 2 or round 1, nothing like that, right? So what within you motivated to look at the second attempt and well before you joined your your work?
Yeah.
Maru?
So one thing was, see, I look at this as something that I have in hand now. Okay. So for example, I plan to join. I plan to stick around in BCG for, let's say, quite some time. I'm not really sure, but at least 2-3 years. I'm looking to stick around and learn. I think it's a great place to work, right? And so this is like if things go south, right? If something bad happens, and probably if something happens, then I want to, I'm not able to switch jobs, or maybe it's, maybe I've decided that okay, now it's the right time for me to do an MBA. So I have this score with me. So that was the notion behind giving it before joining. And I knew that once I join, it will be very hard to, kind of prepare and give the exam along with my job. So that was something I did not want to do. As far as the score is concerned, right? So my only problem was that I was making mistakes in quant. Right. So I'm an engineer. I'm from IIT Delhi. I have cleared JEE Advanced. But I have solved
Complex
15,
problems.
20 times harder questions than this.
Exactly.
Right. And I was making mistakes in this, and I just wouldn't live with myself.
It wasn't just acceptable, you would say.
Yeah. So
Correct.
it was below that standard that I have personally set for myself. Yeah, this is a question that you cannot go wrong in.
Right.
So eventually I had to fix that, and thankfully it got fixed. So
it really tells us that GMAT exam is not very difficult to crack, but it's very tricky. Like you miss out something, you miss out. There's no such thing as silly mistake, because that is still a mistake that will cost you to tank your
Yeah, so I think how they have made it tricky is very simple, right? They will say in I will give you one example. Okay, so there is this question, they will say, okay, x is an integer, right? X is a positive integer, they will say. Okay, so you will probably miss out on the word positive, like while solving, you will just forget that x was a positive integer.
Correct.
And you will probably just say, okay, x was an integer, so you will probably say that 0 bhi ek possible solution hai. But 0 won't be a possible solution because they have explicitly said that x is a positive integer. So it's just about that presence of mind, that focus, that you remember these small things that the examiner is trying to catch you on.
Right. So just to put things in place, if anybody is listening, your first attempt quant was 81 percentile, right? So that is a jump from 81 to 100 percentile. Now, let's just speak a little about, how the entire preparation or the material and content of top 1% really helped you in both these attempts. So could you just speak in all of these sections, what material and content or videos or even any extra support that you saw really helped you through?
So one thing that I would, start with is top GMAT top doubts, usually the mail ID, right? So I used to practically, when I was preparing in April or May, I used to practically spam that at 2 in the morning and just, send 5-6 questions and then just wake up and see, oh, why is this? And so that is, I think, one of the best resources, because sometimes you just feel ki yeah, this one question मैं कितनी बार solution पढ़ लूँ, I am not able to understand what the solution is trying to say. I don't understand what the question is asking. I don't understand what the solution is saying. I don't understand this question. So that is really helpful that there is someone who gives a nice detailed explanation ki there is a step-by-step process, and I really like that, right? So that is one. Second was the PDFs. Again, I would say. So obviously the videos and the process that Sir teaches, that is amazing for somebody who is starting afresh, who does not know anything about the GMAT. So they will, probably they would want to know about octave, about the assumption techniques for solving CR, elimination techniques, what all the techniques they would. So those techniques are actually very helpful when you once you are starting, right? But I feel the best resources of top 1% that I found was the question banks. So the 117, 700 plus RC passages. So RC, when you actually go and sit in the exam, the RC passage would be 100 to 200 words at the max, one or two paras. In those, it in those 117 passages, each passage has four paragraphs. So if you can solve a complicated four paragraph RC passage in, let's say, 6 to 7 minutes, then in the real exam, if you only see two passages, you will be a lot more quicker on that. So your pacing will improve considerably on the real exam, and what will happen is your confidence will also improve. You will have a lot of time left at the end to So it is just a good thing to practice harder questions. So that is one thing, that top 1% has a good collection of harder questions, whether it's RC, CR, IR, uh, uh, anything, quant, even quant also. So I figured that I was actually overconfident in quant, and that is why I was making mistakes. Right. So I was good at algebra. I was good at the hardest questions in al- in I was good at probability, at permutations. But the kind of questions that I was facing trouble in was set theory, was word problem, basic word problem. I would just get confused what the question is asking, and then I would take a lot of time in answering. So those kind of questions would get me hungover, and because I was so overconfident, I was not properly analyzing my mocks. These kind of questions, may I get stuck, and then I probably lose my focus, and then the entire section goes bad.
Right.
So what I did was I just solved entire through the miscellaneous जिसमें word problems हैं, and through the entire first set theory wala chapter, through the numbers wala chapter, I just solved entire chapters, 60 questions I just solved. And after that I saw a considerable improvement ki those I was not facing that kind of a problem. So I think that was quite helpful. And also because even though I did not had access to the sir's videos and sir's method of solving the second time around, mostly I remembered how he was solving. I had watched all of the content, and the key takeaways I had in my notebook. Ki whatever I wanted to, like, let's say if I saw a new video and I felt ki, "ठीक है, probably this one thing that sir has taught is amazing." So I would just write it in my notebook. Right. So that way I have a collection of what is important to me from that videos. And I think those videos are great, and everyone will probably find things that are beneficial to them.
It's very important that when you're doing it, you do it right. Like you
Yeah.
although you do have the capacity of the time frame that you have, you can watch it as many number of times. But the idea is that the time that you're watching, you make sure you pause, you write notes, and you watch it so thoroughly and you get it. And the way he teaches, it's like it sticks, right? One of the
Yeah.
things I want to, yeah, please tell me.
Yeah. So nice. I knew that the first time around my preparation, I was not that sincere with my preparation. I would practically just say this on camera and accept it and own it, because I did it the moment I gave my first attempt. I knew ki this is not your best performance, and that is what propelled me to for my second performance. And so I had attended this one class of sirs, right? This motivation session where he was telling his own story kind of, and how he got a Harvard admit, and his journey through IIM Ahmedabad and everything, I think. And so, after 4 years of college, you probably, lose that preparation mindset that, I must have had when I was, let's say, in school, right? So to bring that back, I realized ki, matlab, I was getting, this is, the effort was, the sincerity was not there, right? You have to sit for 4 or 5 hours, and just keep solving, just keep, you have to push harder. That will only give you results.
Right.
So, and that eventually paid off. So
Right. I actually wanted to highlight on maybe the questions that you were speaking. Maybe 1 second. Let me share, the doubts that you had. Generally, not all the doubts, perhaps, but what really stood out is the way you asked question is something that, at least the faculty would love it, that, you ask the question in a similar way. I'm just going to quickly share. Yes, it wasn't as much as you said. It was pretty much, but then very clearly highlighted CR doubt, concept doubt, doubt in quant, exam targets. And then finally, when we see that finally scored a 725, this is just extremely so happy, so happy to see this, right? That's what I, initially I wanted to highlight, like your question, even the subject line is so detailed that I think most of your answer got answered in one or two questions, or maybe there's a little bit of back and forth, but beautiful, way of highlighting your doubts as well, because then it really targets and helps you get to an answer, and the loop just closes very well in time. But amazing again. Now, on to the part where I would say that, had you been sincere in your preparation per se, and you think that how much time do you think or reckon that this would have taken you? Like right now, it has taken you over about, a little above 6 months overall, right? A little more than that, in fact.
Yeah,
But
so I
had
would
you
say
done it?
probably an year. I would say probably an year because I had started thinking about it 1 year ago.
Right, right.
So
Yeah. Now, but if you had done very sincerely and let's say every day you had put in practice, how long would it have taken to get you a 725? When now, in retrospect, now that you
see,
see.
so it's really hard to answer that for me actually because I feel, time is something that I personally had in this kind of I am early to the process. So therefore, time was not a constraint for me. But someone who has a time constraint and who has all the time in their world, they can if they want, they can do 8 hours GMAT prep every day, right? 8 hours of GMAT prep. So for them, I would say a month. A month is practically more than enough. Like I come from a good quant background, right? Even if you don't, if see if you have if you have a especially bad quant background, then I don't know. Then I can probably not answer this question. But if you are confident in your quant capacity, right? Then I would say ki just start with verbal. Just do verbal for good 2 weeks, then do quant and DI for good 2 weeks. Also keep doing verbal because then you will forget. You will lose touch of it. Because
Yeah,
verbal, if you even skip a day, you lose touch.
right.
So you have to keep doing it. So first 2 weeks you can easily gain all the concepts. So then in and then finally in the last 2 weeks you just practice everything. So you practice everything every day. So probably you give 2 hours to verbal, 2 hours to quant, and probably an hour or two to DI, and that will be enough. So like a month is I would say month and a half, 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks I think is enough, more than enough
So let,
for you to
let me
do it.
just ask one more question, which is on the last 2 weeks before your exam, right? What are
Yeah.
things that you have done just before the exam? Have you done too much or too many off mocks, or were you practicing? Like you said, you just practice a couple of things. Can you give like an exact plan what you did in that fortnight, that 14 days of time frame? Because a lot,
Yeah.
especially for students who are very close, abhi to bahut, everybody is going to give GMAT. Round one is gone, round two will come through. And many of them are not like you, where they have luxury of time, they want to apply. And so they are like in a rush. Ki, would you, tell me the last, I've done the entire course, I've done practice, but the last 2 weeks, any advice? What would be your advice from your experience?
So see, so I was very much on, I was initially, and I would still have this mindset. I would give a mock, and if it went well, I would book the test. I would not book the test even if my mock went back. So I have had, so a lot of times I would just delay booking the test. कि नहीं नहीं नहीं, I think mock next mock देंगे फिर I decide next mock देंगे फिर I decide, right? But in hindsight, having all this stress before your exam day is not useful. It is especially not useful. So what the first attempt had was I had a reasonable score. कि ठीक है 700 plus score है, मतलब with my profile I can target a good school, मतलब good enough school, not the top of the top school, but a good enough school, right? So I was pretty chill कि मतलब even if I don't get the score I want, it's fine. ठीक है, so what was just being lost was money. ठीक है, so ठीक है, मतलब money was a big investment. I feel it's a very expensive exam and people should not give it 5 times. मतलब so I feel कि money was at stake, but I think ठीक है, मतलब this is the investment I can make. So that being said, I did not give a mock in the last week. So I feel I'm not sure about 14 days. I think 14 days is a very long period. For the last 1 week, you don't give a mock because if it goes well, you will be overconfident. If it does not go well, you'll be underconfident, right? Don't give a mock 1 week before your exam. Just practice. You can analyze your mocks. You can analyze your last mock. You can say, okay, so in the last 5 mocks that I have given, this type of question has always troubled me. So let me practice 50 questions of this type. This is a good idea. Okay. Also, just before your exam, I would say do 5-7 questions before going for the exam center, because I have always believed in this. So it's like how sports people do a warm up. So your brain also needs that kind of a warm up. So I would say do some warm up before going for your exam center, going to the exam center, right? Carry a chocolate for your break. Your brain gets tired. Your body gets tired after sitting in a high stress environment for 45 minutes, for an hour. So have a chocolate, go to the washroom. So have, plan it. Ki, okay, see the clock as soon as you get out of the room, and then ki, "Okay, I have probably 2 minutes left, so I can check in and go back to my seat." Now, avoid stressing out as much as possible. And also, I will feel ki, have a good night's sleep a day before the exam. So it is typically tough, because when you have a big day coming up and you have prepared a lot, and lot of your future decides on that test day. And I have been through that situation numerous amounts of time. So one thing that I have followed and I will continue to follow is, one day before your exam, go to the gym. Yeah, gym is for me. Let's say you do any sort of workout. Go and do a good 2 hour workout, and I am telling you, you will feel tired, and then you will be able to sleep.
Sleep better.
So because you are able to sleep, then your mind and body will be fresh, and then you warm up, and then you go and give your exam. And if all works out, then you will have a score which is probably you have not seen in your mocks till now. So that is what I feel.
Wonderful.
Managing yourself on the test day, I think that is more important than your preparation.
That's a fantastic insight. I don't think I've heard this insight from a very long time from anybody, but a fantastic insight for someone who's just around the corner giving the exam. First of all, I have to again congratulate on behalf of Sandeep. So he has personally asked me to, pass this message. Today has been a little compact and tight. I was really pushing to hope that, because you were asking, could connect with sir. But hopefully this week, one of the things that I would like to also say, you're joining BCG tomorrow. You will have such a fantastic experience, and really, now that there is no pressure to really look for MBA or not, right? But then you are giving your 100% into the company, trying to take the project that is going to really highlight your profile. And connect with the ones that will make a difference. I hope that you really see that, and I hope you take some learning from KTW if you haven't really utilized that for the weekend. Things are
So I started with that. So why I really love to watch videos like this, right? So if you see my YouTube recommendations, it always full of such knowledgeable, like such, I say, such random things. So I can, so Think School is a channel that a lot of people might have known. So I'm watching Think School since they had 100,000 subscribers. So now they have probably over 1 million. So I like to watch such kind of content a lot. And that is why I did not talk about KTWs, because it was just very nice. Probably in some topics I did not need to watch the KTW series, let's say science or some other domains. I felt probably I don't need to watch, but especially the evolution chapters where Sir talks about the history of America, how Native Americans. So when you see he talks about that Wordsworth, Williams, something like so that kind of passage. So if you are starting with just starting with GMAT, right, and you don't know anything about this feminism, philosophy, literature, I still don't like these kind of passages. Historical evolution and anthropology and all of this. So I'm like, I know this is a hard passage for me, but that really helped. And also one more tip would be, as and when you are going through these passages. So when you find words that are hard for you, some typical words that were hard for me was anthropologist, paleontologist, such kind of words, such kind of fields. You don't know what these people do, what do they mean, right? So just maintain a small notebook. Just keep looking for words that you don't understand, and then just write it once. And before your exam, or every 7 days, just go through that list of words that you have learned. So in this process, even though vocabulary is not a very important part of the exam, it preparing for GMAT will improve your vocabulary. That is an added bonus. And also having a good vocabulary will help you in exam, because it will help you to understand the passage faster.
Right.
So even though there is no need to focus on it, if you do that, it can help you.
Only
is what I
benefits you. Absolutely. So wonderful. All that thing that you're doing is only going to help you right now. Now that you have a score as well, you have a wonderful career to start with. I think, there is absolutely no limit when and where you can reach to, and, what should you be looking at. But here's wishing you all the very best to start your career.
Thank you. Thank you so
Tomorrow is
much.
the fantastic day for you. I wish you all the best for such a bright career. Really look at jumping leaps and bounds, do fantastic project that will highlight your profile. And I hope and see you really soon. We've already connected on LinkedIn. I really hope to see a lot of things that you do in your work career. You really put up there. I would really give you a shout out. And more importantly, when you crack a M7 admit or whatever school of your choice and dream, whenever that happens.
Yeah.
I would really,
Hopefully it will happen soon. Let's
we will
hope for
give you a
that. Yeah.
shout out. But we
Yeah.
are very grateful, and we are I'll thank you, in fact, to having chosen us, to having trusted Sandeep sir in this leg of the preparation.
So
Okay.
my seniors have trusted him. He has a very good relationship with IIT Delhi, right?
Yes.
And my seniors trusted him. I got a good feedback from my seniors. Therefore, I trusted him. And I will, I will say one thing, right? So people, please don't take it in the wrong way. Okay? If you are looking for a 98 percentile score, na, then Sandeep sir is not the best teacher. He is truly true to his top 1% name.
Right.
Well, if you are looking for a mediocre score, you will not like his methods, his way of teaching, his questions, his because they are harder than the actual exam,
Yeah. And when
and
it comes
that
to
helps you to get that 99 percentile, top 1%. Well, he's true to that. So that is it. If you are aiming for a score lower than that, probably you are going to have a hard time with this course. Is
yeah.
what I feel.
I think that's one of the belief system as well, that he says that you need to knock off the idea of getting just a mediocre school or mediocre score, because then I and you will not connect, because then he'll push you harder through so many motivation videos, through so many things, right? He's going to really push you very, very hard, and if you then people won't like it, that kind of a push. But 99 percentile is not easy, right? And look at you.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. But see, if you want to get that kind of a score, he's probably the best one out there. And if you're looking for a score that is below that, then probably he's not the best choice for you. So for me, it's as simple as that. So if anyone will ask me whether I should join top 1%, my simple answer would be this. See, if you are aiming to get a 99, 100 percentile score, it's the best course. Follow it to the follow it as he says. Do the entire study plan and watch every video, do every question that he asks you to, and you will get the score.
Absolutely. It has been such a fantastic time talking to you. Really, really such a good time. You've given insights that I don't think I've heard in a very long time. And I hope anyone watching this would be extremely helpful, and they would really find it very, very useful. Thank you again for joining me today, Hriday. All the very
Thank you
best,
so
and
much,
have a
Natasha. Happy
lovely
to share my experience. Yeah, I'm
have a
very
lovely
happy to share.
all the time that you have
You too.
to party. I hope you do that all this next weekend, all with your friends. I hope you have a best
Yeah.
of the time in your
Like,
life.
I really believe so. You need to enjoy the small things in life.
Yes.
If you're working hard, you also need to enjoy yourself. So I am a firm believer. Otherwise, I will just burn out. There's no point of working if you can't enjoy it. So
Enjoy
I
this.
I like to believe. Yeah.
But this is it calls for a great celebration. Of a fantastic score. You've got a fantastic, start to your career.
Definitely.
So it's really a big celebration for you. All the very best. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Natasha.
Take care. Yeah.
Bye bye.